This is a narrated video of our walk of OFFA'S Dyke Path in 2019. Arriving in CHEPSTOW, we decided to walk to and from SEDBURY Cliffs. We passed over the Wey River and then walked through a neighborhood and then a series of fields, finally arriving at the official beginning of OFFA'S Dyke Path. Returning to CHEPSTOW, we saw a beautiful sunset over the city.
We left the Two Rivers Inn in the morning, passed through some lanes and fields and some elegant estates. There was a little rain and much fog that prevented us from seeing the famous Tintern Abbey from Devil's Pulpit, where we had lunch. That night we stayed at the Green Gables Inn. The landscape in Wales is very stunningly green this time of year. We walk through fields and forests, past horse farms, and the view from the roundhouse, and finally down the Wey Bridge and into Monmouth, passing the 13th century gatehouse on Monmouth Bridge to our B&B, followed by an excellent dinner. Leaving Monmouth, we passed through neighborhood fields, just planted, farms, forest, lots of sheep, of course. We had lunch in a church alcove and read their signs about respect for their creatures inhabiting the church. We met one of our first north to south walkers, and from there we walked through an apple orchard producing cider and through several large fields, finally arriving at White Castle, a fortification, and picked up by our hostess from the old rectory B&B. It was a wonderful B&B, old with a gorgeous view from our room.
We left from the old rectory B&B and then walked through a variety of fields. Lots of sheep, too. Amazing trees all along the way. And then down to Pandy, and then up to Hatterall Ridge, which is actually the highest point on OFFA'S Dyke Path, passing wild ponies. We enjoyed views all around and had a wonderful lunch. Then onward and upward and then down to LLANGATTOK Prior Hotel, where we enjoyed the monastery ruins and a beautiful church. This is truly a beautiful and glorious day. There was no Wi-Fi at the rectory or the priory, but we didn't care and we had a wonderful time. Leaving the old rectory, it was a steep climb back up to Hatterall Ridge. Slabs on the moorlands, and it was windy. Then, miles of walking in the clouds with wind and rain, but once we got down from the ridge, the sun came out. Then it started to rain. Our B&B was on the side of town, and We had a wonderful time on this particular path.
We had a rest day in Hay-on-Way, the town of the most used bookstores in England. Rest days were welcome. The red dragon is a symbol of Wales' strength and pride. Leaving Hay-on-Way, we went over the bridge and we walked through fields and then forests. We headed to a friendly church where we found snacks waiting for us and hot tea. Heavy rain greeted us as we passed through Gladystry. We were up on Hargest Ridge, on a good place to have GPS device. Soaked wet, we were happy to arrive finally at the sumptuous Castle Hill House, my favorite place to stay.
Up out of KINGTON, we passed by a golf course, and then a series of fields, some of which were just planted, country lanes, more fields, and all along OFFA'S Dyke path are all these amazing trees. And then up again, this time with the help of some stairs. And then down again, where we meet another walker, this time from north to south, where we had lunch. All along the way, Claudia's looking at the sheep, identifying what breed they are, what's happening with them. It's very beautiful and charming. OFFA'S Dyke path was made in the year 757. Tired at the end of the day, we had dinner at an Indian restaurant in town. It was excellent.
It was a steep climb out of KNIGHTON, the toughest section of the OFFA'S Dyke path. We chose to divide it into two sections. This was the 9.2 miles of what they called switchbacks that are actually one steep up and down, one after another. We stayed at the Crown Inn. Leaving Newcastle on CLUN, we passed a lovely gatehouse. Ideas for Earth Sanctuary in the future. We walked 9 steep up and down miles, mainly in pouring rain. We passed the halfway point. Several groups of young people backpacking were on OFFA'S Dyke. Once again, a church saved us from the rain in a little vestibule. We read the church signs as we downed our sandwich. Lots more wet walking to finally arrive at the Blue Bell Inn that was empty, but there we were picked up by our B&B hostess, who made us a great dinner.
Twist me and turn me and show me the elf. I looked in the mirror and there saw myself.
Oh.
This was a relatively level walk at the beginning, through fields, again passing more beautiful trees, just planted fields. Coming down to a farm, through the middle of a field, more beautiful sheep, very friendly. We are happy. Then along a path in a forest, and then down to the Twindom Farm B&B. Happy to be there. It's always good to see our purple luggage has made it. We check our email and then have a really wonderful dinner there. Our B&B was really wonderful. There was a friendly cat. And then we went down to Welshpool for our rest day. And then we walked to Powys Castle through a forest of amazing old-growth trees. The castle is well worth visiting, very interesting. No photos allowed inside. An amazing sculpture here with a close-up of sheep. Friendly people in the restaurant. And then back to our B&B.
A sweet donkey was waiting for us at the Buttington drop-off. Then there was sunny level walking all day, much of it along the Montgomery Canal. Lunch was beside the trail. Then we had views of this giant quarry with incredible skies. At the end of the day, after viewing gardeners and lots of ducks and geese and their little chicks.
Back to bed, isn't she?
Yeah.
You get it?
Up, up, up we went on LLANYMYNECH, past quarries and a golf course. It's raining really hard and it's getting cold. More up, more down. Claudia gets us a beautiful photo of a sheep and its lamb. It got so cold we abandoned ship and took a taxi to our next B&B where we were warmly welcomed.
Rain greeted us, and rain was at the end of the day.
Oh, this is beautiful.
We walked along the canal and watched them put the gates up and down. There's the famous aqueduct, the Llangollen Canal Aqueduct. Floods greeted us everywhere. We went by a very wet area that we had to step off the path. We went through a horse pasture where I met my favorite horse on the trip, and down into Llangollen through a forest where the workers were dealing with the high water and flooding.
This was a rest day in Llangollen. Flooding was front page news. One kayaker got caught in a hydraulic, got separated from his kayak and floated down the river. He went to the hospital, but we heard he was okay. We had great meals at the Cornmeal Restaurant, the best restaurant that we enjoyed during our walk. While Claudia walked around town and was enamored with this amazing taxidermy shop, I took the Llangollen Steam Railway. I love old trains and mechanical contraptions and going on the train itself. Leaving our Llangollen B&B, we said goodbye to our hosts and then took a few roads to get back on the path, going up the hill past the hilltop Dinnisbron Castle. Then onward to World's End, a panoramic walk on Scree below Craigs, one of the best and most beautiful parts of the OFFA'S Dyke path in our opinion. Just beautiful. And then down we go to a place called World's End, where we ford a creek on stepping stones. First Claudia goes, and then she looks back at me, and I'm going much more carefully than she was. Then up the road, and making a left, going over the moorlands, down through a forest, and into a small town where we had lunch in a shop. Again, more incredible trees. One of our best memories of the walk are all the trees. And then more ups and downs. You can see the radio tower in this back there, and now we're passing it. More ups. Claudia's saying, not more ups, not more downs. And now we're heading down, getting close to our pickup point at Clyde Gate, which you can see in the upper right, where our B&B picked us up. It's built in an old train station, actually, this B&B, and then we had dinner at a nearby pub. No rain, a beautiful day. This was a strenuous day, with many ascents and descents through gorgeous country. Lots of people are going up to Jubilee Tower. Down we go. The path continues. This is Mole Arthur Hillfort. And a very steep down to a parking area. You can see the path on the other side where we go up again. More up, more up. Beautiful skies. We pass a burial mound. And off to the left, we see a flooded valley. We are happy to finally reach our B&B. Claudia takes a nap, and then off to pub for dinner. And a great moon and sunset at the end of the day. Sun and rain today as usual. Up the road we go, cross over the busy A55 expressway, and then a very steep climb up again, and beautiful blue skies as we pass through green fields, barley, blowing wind, lots of styles. Can you tell I'm a little tired? A watermill, more fields. We're getting near the end. Prestatyn is in the distance. All the acorns we've been following for the past 180-90 miles are B&B here in town. And then we walk to the actual end of the OFFA'S Dyke Pass. We're very happy. What an awesome day. Beautiful blue sky and clouds. And dinner at a wonderful Indian restaurant. And the official end of OFFA'S Dyke Path.
This was perhaps my most favorite of all our English trips. Chuck planned almost a year in advance. Anticipation is part of the love of hiking. I followed Chuck's heels and he navigated with GPS, and our thoughts continued to wander, but only so far as our next hike.